Good evening. This is Deborah B. Wilson. I am in Bradford. It is Saturday. The date is the 14th of March 2020, and the time is 1800 hours and 22 minutes, and that's time zone BST. I don't need to tell you that the global community, we are all concerned about the coronavirus. I had read, I've been following online the information from the UK government, UK-based scientists, and I'm following happenings in my city of birth, which is Chicago, and over the last few years, I've lived and been in a myriad of places, so I've been following the news out of Israel and the news out of Canada. And one of the things that I actually focused on was out of Canada. There was a story online about panic buying. Well, because I try to walk and get as many steps as possible in, I usually walk to the grocery store and back. I'm not having a brain fart. This is related. And I had already done, so I usually do my grocery shopping in two pieces. I don't get a lot of groceries, it's just myself. And in fact, I had made a grocery list and I had already said it was unfortunate what I was reading about people panic shopping, because panic and fear are quite infectious, just as infectious as the coronavirus, as well as happiness. Happiness and confidence can also be quite infectious. So I made this grocery list and I was thinking to myself, I'm going to get in out of the store. I'm a vegetarian. I sometimes a vegan, but mostly a vegetarian. I keep to a halal diet. So I'm thinking there's tons of things that I just don't buy. Right. And my list, I only had 12 items on my list. So I went to Aldi's here in Bradford. And first thing I noticed, there were more shopping carts gone, but there were still some there. Then when I first entered the store, there were empty shelves. I could feel myself tensing up. I won't say the role they did, and I won't say gender. I stood there standing, and then I could feel myself going from tensing up to panicking. And I saw a store employee, and I asked the person, I'm not going to say the role they were doing, and nor will I say gender, trying to be anonymous as possible. I said, the shelves are bare. I shop at this Aldi's all the time, and I'd never seen that before. And I said, are people panicking? The Aldi's employee said, yes. The employee went on and talked about how concerning it was, how fearful it was, and how the staff was on the receiving end of abuse. Just as employee, people were constantly filling their carts and then looking for employees to demand that the employee restock the shelves. They were just pulling employees, and they were complaining about cashiers who took breaks. So at Aldi's, where they do it, the till number, till A, and they're actually numbered because I don't want, till A is going on break. And so what they do announce is the till B is open. And there were multiple tills open because I could see there were tons of people. Well, an interesting thing happened to myself. So anyway, the employees were on the receiving end of abuse. People were panicking. Oh gosh, I ended up buying double the amount of things that I need because I started thinking, what if this doesn't stop? What I became fearful myself, and I said, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? I live by myself. What am I going to do if if I can't get the food I need?" So then I started loading my cart. I'm embarrassed to say what I did next. I had already purchased earlier in the week toilet paper. I get this thing of toilet paper that's a family of 10 wouldn't need it. And I'm like standing there looking at people, and then I did have some reflection and put that toilet paper back. And I put some of the things back in my cart. But I remembered how frightened I felt. And I remembered seeing the people, mostly families. I didn't see too many people shopping on their own, a few people, but mostly families, and just stocking up. And I don't know, I saw an article that I'm going to read about buying toilet paper. I glanced at it during the hoarding of toilet paper as a means of control, to feel like to seeking some control in this situation. It was very interesting because I mean it was I spent twice the money I planned on spending, and came back with twice the groceries. Thank God most of them are non-perishable, but it was because I kept seeing the empty shelves. And it was interestingly, when I was preparing to get into the queue to check out, I started talking to another employee. I always like to interview people and talk to them. I'm always fascinated about how societies work. I look at things from a security perspective. So as a civilian, my perspective is bottom up, and what we in general look at as being secure as civilians, citizens, and then when we don't feel secure, we didn't feel secure. And other piece of my research is if the state hears us, we didn't feel secure. And this employee I spoke to, this employee said it was so unfortunate because what about the senior people that come into the store? He didn't realize I'm a senior myself. I'm 62. He didn't realize that. And he said, who only get one or two things. And the employee said, we're constantly restocking the shelves. There is no shortage. And the employee said, I, you probably guessed the gender, but I'm trying. The employee said, because I keep stopping myself, the employee said, there are more supplies coming in tomorrow and the day after. Everything's fine. But I don't know if we know that. I was surprised at what I had done. I was surprised. I was surprised. We're only at the start of this, and there's so many unknowns. And I'd be curious to know how the rest of the country is doing. And with shopping possibly being a metaphor and evidence of how secure or insecure shopping patterns we feel, and where we're insecure, we need the government to continually tell us that it's what's happening now and what's coming next. One of the things, because I do have a business background, and which is why I'm particularly embarrassed about what I did, there are companies, stores have supply chains, and those projections are based on contractual, and they may be contracted out for by the week and by the month. So they plan on empty shelves around the holidays. So wherever you live, what major holidays, Christmas, Eid, Easter, where people load up on food. We haven't even gotten to Easter yet. This is, and when you continue to overshop, you actually do put a strain on the supply chain, because the coronavirus wasn't factored in. So I look forward to dealing with my own fears and being more rational